Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Like and subscribe.
Welcome to the Sit, Walk, Work podcast, a show about paying attention. My name is Dominic and I'm your host, and today is a guided meditation. And what you can expect is that the practice will open up with a brief recap, followed by the actual practice itself. If you find today's episode valuable, please share with your friends and family, and feel free to leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. The show will begin after the following chimes. Today was about two things. It was about focused and open attention, and it was about impermanence, or the arising and the changing nature of things. And so we started practice with our eyes open and kind of playing with our visual focus. And this is something I've been doing in my own practice recently, because our vision is a huge part of how we take in information, which means that's how we think, which all plays into layers on top of one another, and thus affects our actual practice. And so being able to physically look at something with the eyes open and then play with your peripheral vision a little bit helps to kind of hone in our focus. So that's how we started practice. Then I had you close the eyes and take those similar concepts and apply that to the breath and the other things that you witnessed when you close the eyes. So we started by feeling our breath, the rhythm of it, the pace of it. And then we started to feel the space of our breathing. And so I asked you to imagine the space in your body as you breathed and how that showed up. And we moved through the body via space and using the breath in conjunction with that. From there, we kind of moved into observing the thoughts and the way that they were impacting the practice and how they were creating sensations and things throughout the practice. And so we sat with the thinking mind a little bit before kind of moving back into the body as a whole and just broadening that sense of feeling everything in space, and, if you will, widening out the practice a bit. And then we kind of focused a little bit on some gratitude, some feelings, landed the plane back at the breath, opened our eyes, and look at us. We're 30 minutes to the finish line. So I'm really glad to see you all here today. And I feel like we're going to have a really nice practice together. And so what you can expect as we move through practice today is I'm going to be providing you with a series of prompts and pointing your attention into specific things I want you to focus on. And we'll kind of move between that and moments of silence to kind of work with whatever arises in the practice. One of the things I also ask students to consider is consider meeting this practice with a bit of curiosity and a bit of openness, especially if this is your first time with meditation. Let the expectations be a little low and keep the mind really open to what the practice may bring. And then, that's good advice for all of us. And with that, we will go ahead and get started. So first thing I'd like for you to do is just do a quick posture check. And so make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you're going to be okay in the position you're in for the next 28 minutes or so. If you need to adjust the posture. Let your hands rest somewhere comfortably, either in your lap or by your side. Don't want your hands flailing and fidgeting all around. Let them rest. Let them sit by your side. Or if you're lying down, let them lay on your belly or just beside you. Take a breath in. I want to make sure you can do that. So just an inhale and an exhale. Point of that is to make sure your posture isn't compromised in a way that would affect your practice in any type of capacity. And then normally we start the practice with eyes closed, but tonight I'm actually going to ask you to keep your eyes open for a moment. And we're going to use this technique to kind of help lock in our focus for the remainder of our meditation. So, what I'd like for you to do is find a spot, maybe slightly out in front of you, that you can just rest your vision on. Just kind of focus on this one area. And the goal here is to kind of allow the attention to be kind of isolated as you focus on the spot slightly in front of you. Could be a wall, a picture, anything, a light of some sort, anything that your eyes can softly rest upon. And without losing that initial focal point that I'm asking you to stay locked into, open your vision and notice your peripheral vision, the edges of it, softness of it. And the goal here is to kind of keep your vision in both places, focused in front of you, but also noticing the width of your peripheral vision. You might feel a little bit of resistance along the way from the eyes. It might even feel like they're trying to cross as you hold them in this position. So just allow a bit of softness to enter that space. And slowly begin to let your vision start to notice more of the peripheral, more of the edges than that focal point. And slowly let the eyes begin to close. Bringing that same concept and idea into practice with us, that you can be focused on one thing, but have space for the rest of the objects that are present. So now let your attention rest on your breath, moving in and moving out. Noticing where the breath begins, how it moves through the body, how the exhale happens and the process starts again. When you're observing the breath, you're also witnessing every other arising and passing away that's happening in the moment. From the sound of my voice to the energy of the thinking mind, any sensations you might feel in your body. There's activity here. And while we're holding our focus on the breath, the activity is what's in our peripheral vision. And we're simply allowing ourselves to sit and be with this moment, following the breath through its complete cycle. Our attention can sometimes hold strongly to whatever we're focused on, and other times it can really be scattered, moving about. You find that your attention is being pulled in a variety of directions. I invite you to be patient and understanding when you notice and redirect it back to the in and to the outflow of your breath. In this way, you give yourself the opportunity to be compassionate and understanding and patient with yourself. With this very busy mind that is doing its best every day to keep you safe and whole and healthy and happy. And with your next breath, can you begin to imagine the space inside of your nose as you take that breath in? Can you imagine the space inside of the throat as the breath moves in through the nostrils and down into the throat and into the lungs? Can you imagine the space between your eyebrows? And can you reference the space between the eyes and the nose? And with your next breath that comes in, can you imagine that the breath is filling up the space from the throat to the crown of the head? That inhale kind of finding all the little cracks and crevices, taking up the space of the head and neck. And then as you exhale, letting go of the breath, you're emptying out the space in these parts of the body. And in acknowledging the space that is present, notice how the breath moves through that space. So does the energy of the thoughts and any other sensations you feel in your body. that there's room to hold all of this in this very open way. Feeling the rhythm of your breath, its speed and depth, and where it's showing up in the physical body, and the space that's present in your breath. As you inhale, if you pause for a moment, you can find that space before exhaling and letting the cycle start over again. And observing each moment in this capacity, we are faced with the realization that we are surrounded by a sea of impermanence. Each moment is dissolving and recreating itself one breath at a time, one thought, one sensation. Letting your attention now begin to move its spotlight towards the thoughts that are happening in practice today. Taking the same set of skills that you applied to observing the breath, compassion and patience and curiosity, and begin to look at the way your thoughts are coming and going today. Observing if they're supportive, frustrating, sad, or happy, a little bit of all the above. Are they continuous or do they give you a bit of space too? And can you allow yourself to be with them in whatever capacity that's arising in this moment? to award them your loving attention, to maybe even be surprised how quickly they might change or reconfigure into a different variation of a similar thing. And that they may take you somewhere in the past or pull you to somewhere in the future. But the only places that you can experience the past and the future is in the present, in this moment. And then as you sit and practice, it's good to remember that none of these things require you to do anything to receive them. Your thoughts show up the same way your breath shows up, the same way the sensations in your body arise. There is a constant aliveness taking place within all of us in every moment. You're slowing down to watch it up close and personal in all of its changing splendor. Allowing the attention now to open wide and notice the sensations in the body. Notice if you're holding any tension in any space within the body. And if you are, allow your focus to go there, to feel the space around it, to let your breath move into that space. And welcome it in. Here, when we're observing the body in this way, the edges start to blur and we just feel the changing nature of the sensations, moving in accordance with our thinking mind and our breath. noticing the space that's present in the body, the space between the breath, the space between the thoughts, the space between the sounds. It is steady, gradual work to allow ourselves to become comfortable with all of these changing energies within us. Start to feel that we're able to remain stable in the midst of ever changing experiences. And in showing up for practice, we create the conditions to learn that. It isn't to clear the system of anything, but rather to become better stewards of it all, to be good caretakers of ourselves. So, with that, welcome in a sense of gratitude for the way that your body is breathing itself in this moment, for the fact that you showed up for your practice, for any recent good gestures you might have done, or considering the last time you felt deep gratefulness for yourself. letting the attention return back to simply the breath, noticing it coming in, noticing it going out. As we begin to close out practice, allow yourself to slowly exit the practice. Softly move the hand, maybe wiggle the toes. Let the eyes slowly blink open so you can kind of feel the change from coming out of practice and back into your fully awakened state. Over time, we come to realize that eyes open or eyes closed, it's the same place and the rules apply in both conditions.
That's the beauty of it.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I invite you to check out my Substack, where we are building a community of like-minded individuals to discuss all topics related to the idea of paying attention. I hope to see you there. But until then, with metta may you be well.
Like and subscribe.